Let's have a look now at the ATP events from last week because we had the ATP 500 out in Qatar, where Andrey Rublev, was the champion. He's won this event for the second time. And unfortunately for British fans, he did break Jack Draper's hopes in that final. Three sets it was, Rublev coming through 6-1 in the third set. But Jack Draper, yeah, having a great run to the final, getting there. But what did you make of Rublev's week? Because he's now back, I think, in the top 10 again. And he's had a few results that have been a bit so-so, but obviously having a good week out in Doha and getting that win, battling through some matches. But yeah, kind of doing what we would
Rublev
typically
things,
associate with Rublev.
Rublev's back,
yeah.
winning
Rublev is
500s.
back.
It's
It's
nice,
almost like
isn't it?
tennis is the order of tennis has been restored on the ATP side of things. I mean, that was his first 500 win since 2022, and it is really pleasing to see actually because he has been going through a really kind of tough period. I mean, I was looking at some of his stats last season. I think he lost 28 matches in total last season, which is the most he's lost on the tour in one calendar year. And he lost to Fonseca in the first round at the Australian Open. So, that was sort of a moment I was like wondering, can it get worse than this, or where does it go from here? So it's good to see, I think, Rublev post Australian Open kind of bouncing back, having that confidence and just playing with a bit of fun. I think, he was able to kind of keep a lid on things in that final. And even though he did drop that second set, he didn't sort of let that emotion overcome
Explosion
him.
didn't happen, did it?
No, it didn't. And I think he was helped a little bit by Jack Draper. He's just been coming back from injury. And I think his body sort of, wasn't willing to go another set in that final. But yeah, Rublev, I feel like he's back to his old self.
He talked about the mentality.
Calmer Rublev.
He talked about the mentality as well. So maybe not back to his old self, but back to his old ways, but maybe to an elevated self, because he said he felt very good mentally. The frustration didn't get to him. He was able to restart and kind of play at the same intensity again. And I think this is interesting because he's kind of talked about that. I talked about that with you, Kim, at the end of last year when you spoke to him about trying to be more calm. He's meditating. So maybe this is actually like a new path for him. And this will be like a building block to even more successful things.
There's hope for us all. If Rublev can get calm, we all can. And Jack Draper, yeah, fantastic week for him. Like you said, Joel, coming back from injury.
Not far off the top 10.
Not far off the top 10. He's up to 12 now, which is brilliant.
It's great. That snuck up on me. I did not realize how close he was to the top 10.
He's been winning, Joel.
I know.
And he had a good win over Lehechka, who had taken out Alcaraz. So, yeah, some great wins also against Berrettini, who took out Djokovic, which we'll get onto in a moment. But what do you think in that final, for example? I know Draper a bit tired, kind of coming back off injury, but what's the one thing you would say to Draper that he could improve if he's up against Rublev, in a sort of carbon copy of the final next time round?
I sort of felt kind of watching some of the match and some of the highlights that Rublev, we know he's ultra aggressive, ultra attacking. And it felt like Draper at moments, he was just sort of biding his time to kind of switch the rally from, Alcaraz from Rublev offense to Draper offense. And I just sort of wonder whether maybe earlier in the point or earlier in the rally, actually he can be on the front foot to begin with, because I think too many times it felt like Rublev, was the aggressor, and Draper was sort of trying to find his moments, whether he just needs to be a little bit more offensive to begin with. Because I do think his defense was very solid all week, but I wonder whether he needs to be able to play on the front foot a little bit more.
The stats agree, Joel, actually, because Rublev was very successful behind his serve, winning 79% of first serve points and over 65% of second serve points. So it does look like maybe Jack wasn't stepping up against that serve, and maybe that did mean that the points were dragging out a bit longer, and really he needed to get it done a bit quicker if he was feeling the effects of being a bit tired. So maybe that's something we'll see from him. But either way, I mean, Jack just keeps getting better and better and better, which is great to see, because we lost Murray, we gained a Draper.
Yeah, absolutely. And another player coming back from injury was Novak Djokovic, who lost his opener to Berrettini 7-6, 6-2, straight sets. I mean, that is the first time in a long time, I think, since 2009 that Djokovic is out in the first round on the ATP tour. Were you surprised by this result, or can you just put it down to he's coming back from injury? He's obviously going to be a bit rusty. Joel?
I definitely think there's a theme growing in terms of kind of big servers. Berrettini, big serve, Opelka, big serve, Popperin as well. And he's not really had the, he's not really had the answers to it. I get that, he's coming back from injury and he's maybe been off for a few weeks, but it certainly maybe suggests to me that he's not got maybe some of the powers of old, because I feel like, a few years ago, we talk about Djokovic and his return game and it being, one of the best ever. But it seems at the moment that he's really struggling and finding it hard to break down these kind of big serving opponents. And with Berrettini, it was quite a similar story really to, some of his other defeats that he's had this season. I'm sure, he will get better, but at the same time, going out in the first round, that probably was not part of the script.
Yeah. And I think, Alcaraz as well, falling early. It's almost like, obviously Sinner's banned. Alcaraz doesn't seem to be, I know he won the title last week, but he wasn't able to back that up and fell to Lehechka. It seems like similar to the WTA, there's chances here for other players to be getting these titles now.
Yeah, it does make me think, because we're going to come on to the Rio Open in a second, but Zverev's not really had a great time, in the golden swing, and it just make me feel like are these players in the chasing pack feeling the pressure a little bit from this situation where there is no world number one? There's a big opportunity for me here, but yeah, Alcaraz is not taking it, Zverev's not taking it, and it just seems to be, like the chasing pack, they're not in form at the moment.
Well, Alcaraz did win Rotterdam. Just a little caveat. That is a title that he did win. True. So we will give him that because it's his first indoor title. But maybe the way he went out and those last 4 games against Lehechka, they kind of just went away. So I think that's probably more kind of testament to what you were saying, Joel. But I mean, on the Rio Open, I mean, it wasn't golden for Zverev at all, was it? I mean...
He lost to Francisco
but he got the paycheck. That's what matters.
He did get the paycheck, yes. But he wants the ranking, surely. Yeah. Sorry, Kim.
No, lost to Commissaro in the quarterfinals. And I did have to sort of do a double take when I saw that result, because I thought, who? But yeah.
That's the golden swing for you.
He'll get the payoff.
That's the golden swing. That's what happens.
I know.
That's part of the fun.
We do all know the winner, Sebastian Baez. He defended his title, beating Alexandre Müller in the final quite comfortably. And he's now, he's won 7 ATP titles, 4th title in South America. And he loves the golden swing, doesn't he, Baez? He's, won this title twice in a row now, picking up those golden swings. And I mean, it was an easy draw, but he, seemed to come through fairly comfortably, a couple of 3-setters, but no one really
didn't play a seed
challenging him.
Didn't play a seed, picked up
week.
500 points. I mean, comparing that to Rublev, there is a big disparity there. It does make me think. I mean, I watched the Rio Open. It's a lovely tennis court and it looks like a great atmosphere. Why do you think it struggles to, arguably justify its 500 billing? Because it's apart from Zverev, it's not much else really, is there?
Well, it's almost like they don't have the same budget as the Middle East. I mean, surely it can't be that, but I would say it's definitely that. But in terms of the way that it works, normally they sort of club together in terms of paying for a top 5 ranked player to come down. I think they were unlucky this time that maybe there weren't a few more players that played both events. Holger Rune did say he was not feeling well when he lost in Argentina, and then he pulled out of the Rio Open, but in true Holger Rune fashion was back on the tennis court in Acapulco the next day. So not sure we can read too much into that one. And then Musetti pulled out as well. So there were more names who were going to be here. So this was an unfortunate year, I would say. But I mean, it's giving Hamburg, that's 500 that tends to happen after the French Open, which is now before the French Open. So there are some of these events that happen. It is a ranking point opportunity, but I don't think it's a financial opportunity for a lot of players.
And I just want to say, before we go to a quick break, the doubles here. I know last week we were speaking about, doubles is dying. The US Open, it's changed it because, they need to make it better. But the doubles here was alive and thriving. 5,000 people, close to midnight, sell out to watch Matos and Melo become the first ever Brazilian team to win the Rio Open. They defeated one of your favourites, Kim Munar and Martinez
Jaime Munar.
in straight sets. But yeah, it was just a buzz and an atmosphere. And I love this quote from Marcelo Melo. "I've been playing doubles for 18 years, won Grand Slams, was world number one, but there is nothing like this feeling." It just shows how much doubles on the tour means to a lot of people.
Just got goosebumps for that quote. That's so nice, isn't it? Just the thought of that, just thinking that this is their Grand Slam, and being able to win that in front of your home crowd. But I mean, Fonseca was there cheering them on as well up until midnight, and he's only 18. Yeah, I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, amazing scenes late at night to round off the tournament. And yeah, definitely I think the highlight from Rio. No offense to Baez, but great to have the Brazilians winning at their home event.